Hey, how you doing? It's early winter, or late winter rather, here at Neversink, and this is the time that you're planning. So hopefully you've written out your plan for what you want to grow, gone through what kind of seeds you're going to need, which vegetables you want. Now what you need to know is when are you going to plant, when are you going to start stuff? And there's a few things you need to know about your area first to be able to figure that out. One is your zone, right? And in the US, they're all covered by zones, and across the world, you're going to know what your zone is. And your zone is going to help you look up your last frost date. And the last frost date is based on historical information of when there's been last frost and the temperature, so it actually changes over time. It's a fluid number, so you want to look it up and find out when that last frost date is. Because what you want to do is make sure that you're planting after that last frost date for any of your hardy or not hardy vegetables, right? And there are different tenderness for vegetables when it comes to temperature. For example, there's tomatoes, which are more tender, and basil, definitely more tender. And you don't want to wait till just after the frost date. You want to give it a few weeks after that until the temperatures rise above 45 degrees at night, because things aren't really going to grow. So there's no need to risk it, because you're not going to get much growth out of your plants just by putting them out early if it's cold, if it's 38 degrees at night. They're just not going to grow. Even lettuce isn't really going to grow all that much in that cold. So unless you're covering them, right, like with a row cover or sheets or plastic, you want to wait. If you're covering them, then you can cheat it and go a little early for the not hardy vegetables. Now for the hardy stuff, you can start planting those out right after the last frost. Now you can push it if you're hardening them off, or again, once you're covering them, or covering them with plastic or with a row cover, and or hardening them off. And hardening them off just means you're putting them outside during days where it's not that windy, it's a little chilly, and you're just toughening them up, right? Just a little bit of breeze will toughen up so that the stems get stronger. The cold will just make them more resistant, but it's not freezing. It just kind of acclimates them to the outside, because they've been, having a good life on your windowsill or wherever you're starting them, and they're very tender. All right? So you want to know what your last frost date is. You want to know whether this is a tender plant, whether it's not very hardy, or if it's a hardy plant. And those I'll be giving as I'm doing the vegetable by vegetable, so that you know. You can also look it up, because I'll give it as one of the facts about the vegetable. And you want to know how you're going to treat it. Are you going to be covering it or protecting it in any way so that you can kind of move that date a little earlier, as well as if you're going to be hardening them off or not. And the other thing you need to know is about your vegetable itself, with how many weeks it takes until you're going to plant it out. So that if your last frost date is May 20th, and if something's going to take 8 weeks, that you're counting back from that date, and that's the date you're going to start it, so that you get yourself 8 weeks to get that plant mature as a seedling before you're going to plant it out. And that's also something that will be give you a general idea in the veg by veg section. But you also want to look at your packet, because different varieties change. There's some varieties that can change by 3 or 4 weeks or more with the same vegetable. So check your packet as well, and take it how many. Most packets will say how many weeks until you can plant it out from a transplant. In terms of direct seeded stuff, you can start planting the hardy stuff pretty quickly. So carrots and radishes. And it might sit there for a while until it germinates, until it warms up. But really not much is going to get hurt, right? You don't want to plant it too early, but a couple of weeks before your last frost date, you'll probably be okay. And it's just some seed. You can always reseed it anyway. You didn't put a lot of time into it. All right? So plan well. Always better to be safe and have a really great season of vegetables than try to risk it too much.